Hey guys, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. News broke early this afternoon that Michigan and Jim Harbaugh were going to accept the penalty by the Big Ten, handed down by the president of athletics, I think it is Petiti, and accept the 3-game ban. And I would love to have some answers, and I have nothing. There's so many things that just make me frustrated with this. Like, what is going on at Michigan? I would like to honestly know, and I who knows what will happen. This is just crazy. The word was that Petiti, he came to Ann Arbor when Michigan was hosting the field hockey tournament to be the representative, right, to go watch the tournament. And then he met with Santa Ono, Michigan's president. Supposedly, again, this is rumor, this is just reports, where that Petiti wanted Santa Ono and Michigan to accept a 2-game ban for Harbaugh. And, so that would have been Maryland and Penn State game. Well, Michigan declined and said, no, we're going to, settle this properly. You guys need to do due process. And so obviously then the Big Ten came back with a 3-game suspension, which was set in stone. There's no real appeal to it. Michigan's just trying to get a temporary restraining order, or that would have been last week. This week it was I think an injunction on it, and that was set to happen tomorrow. It'd been odd how there have been hardly any stories about this all week. I mean, the whole Harbaugh thing in Michigan, and there have been very few stories about this actually coming out. And then all of a sudden you have that Michigan accepted the punishment. I don't understand why they would, if it's true, why they would take a 2-game. They had a 2-game ban option, so Michigan would have had Jim Harbaugh back for Ohio State game, and now they're willing to take a 3-game suspension. And supposedly, with the support of Michigan, Jim Harbaugh and Michigan decided to stop the litigation, stop I'm drawing a blank, but the court fight of it, and they're just going to take their medicine, if you will. I just don't get it, because Michigan seemed to be digging their heels in, all fully support for Jim Harbaugh. Did something come out? Was there some agreement reached behind closed doors? I mean, you had the reports coming out that there was yesterday, the Freedom of Information Act showed there was no connection, no paper trail between Connor Stallions and Michigan. There was no receipts for him getting paid to cover these tickets to go, steal signs on the road. Then you have the other side of it where it's come out now, and clearly Ohio State had decoded Michigan's plays from Don Brown, sheets of it showing Don Brown's signals and what the play was, and how, that's fine and dandy because, that's during the game. So, that doesn't necessarily put the players at risk that you stole signs, but stealing signs when you're not in the game, that's, a problem. And this is just so confusing. And then just have this as a finale. If I'm an honest Michigan fan, and I try to shoot it straight, guys, I try to not be, a total homer all the time. It just makes me almost think that in the back of my mind was two things. Was Michigan just okay, we don't need Jim Harbaugh, which I think is unbelievably stupid if that's what they actually thought. That Michigan will be fine without him. I don't know. Obviously he makes play calls. Michigan played a lot better with him on the sideline versus not with him on the sideline. So, was Michigan okay, we can do this without Jim Harbaugh, and let's just get this thing done and buried. Again, the NCAA investigation has found nothing connecting Jim Harbaugh to Connor Stallions as well. The Big Ten has agreed to end their investigation into Michigan, and was that just it where Michigan's we're sick of this? Michigan being the villains and all this, we're sick of it, and we don't want to have a court fight where this story, if he got the temporary injunction, then you're looking at, I don't know what would happen, actually. I wonder if maybe that's the reason why. Did they think the judge wouldn't give the temporary injunction, so then Michigan would still, maybe he still has to decide, and maybe he would coach Maryland game, just hypothetically. Maybe he has to decide doesn't get it done in time, so he decides on Monday or Tuesday, so Harbaugh coaches Maryland, and then he sides with the Big Ten perhaps. Then he would miss Ohio State and the Big Ten title game if Michigan gets there, right? Maybe that was the reason. I don't know. It's just so confusing to me why Michigan seemed so, we're going to fight this. You had A.D. Manuel back there. You had Santa Ono. You had like Jim Harbaugh. We're all agreed. We're all fighting for this. And all of a sudden, we're just going to lay over. And if it's true that Michigan could have had a 2-game suspension if they would have just taken it, and now they got a 3, it's like, what? That makes no sense. So I hope that is totally false. That Michigan was offered a 2-game suspension and then got hit with 3. And now they're just taking the 3. I don't know, man. I wish I had some answers. Right? I wish I knew something to tell you guys. I don't know. It just seems so weird. Michigan's all going legal, all going to be set, hiring the super high legal firm. Maybe when they were looking at it, they've realized it wasn't worth the effort. They didn't want to be more in the public eye. Maybe they saw they weren't going to win the case. I don't know. A lot, man. I wish I had some answers. It just brings up more questions. But 2 things, I guess. It sucks. I mean, you hope Michigan can rally and play well against Maryland, which I thought would be kind of a trap game-ish, that they'll play poorly for a while but pull it out, you know. Secondly, now, are they going to be able to beat Ohio State without their head coach? My wife was I told my wife this, what was happening. She's like, is there a rule in the Big Ten rule, the penalty? Could Jim Harbaugh be on speakerphone and, you know, talk to a person in the stadium, like in the coach's box, you know, on the phone from home, and then like be talking to him what he would do? I don't know if that's out. Like, that's interesting because he can't be in the stadium, he can't be on the sideline. What about if he make a phone call? I don't know. You know, the way they hate Michigan, the way the NCAA hates Michigan, they were like, oh, you violated it, they're in 10-year ban. You know, I don't know. I guess, of anything, I just hope for 2 things. One, that Michigan will rally around this and play 2 excellent games and see how it plays out. And hopefully Jim Harbaugh will be back for the Big Ten title game. And overall, I hope this is just done. This story was so stupid and asinine to begin with. This is like the most minor thing in the world. And it's crazy how the media blew it up way out of proportion. I mean, you have the story out of Wake Forest where the NCAA knew that a team had their Wake Forest's signals for 3 years and never bothered telling the team that a coach had their playbook. And man, it wasn't worth the NCAA's time to even tell the team that they had stolen their plays and had them for 3 years. But, you know, you got, you know, it's so disappointing. There's so much back and forth that's so annoying. I do look forward to this being over with, this story, and just go on. I don't know. I wish I had something more positive, but this is just baffling to me. Just completely baffling that Michigan's doing it this way. I don't know. It's almost like Michigan's reverting back to their Pride Avenue. We're like, you know what? It's not worth the negative press anymore. We're just going to take it and just so we can move on and be Michigan again. So we don't have a negative story about us most every day for like 6 weeks. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you have any thoughts, put them in the box below. I'm interested. What do you guys think was the reason behind this? And will Michigan rally around this? Or is this going to kind of be the kiss of death? If you listen to Mike and Mike in the Morning back in the day, he'd always pick his winner, Mike Greenberg, like for the NCAA tournament or, you know, Super Bowl playoffs and all that. And the KOD, it turned out to be the kiss of death. His team like always lost so early. So, I mean, is this going to be the kiss of death for Michigan that, you know, this is just ends Michigan's season, basically? I don't know. Hey, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts, put them in the box below. As always, until I see you next time, go Blue!